Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Naso here from IPR with the latest on the tropics. We continue to watch several situations beginning to escalate out there in the Atlantic Basin as, again, hurricane season 2012 kicks into high gear. Here is the latest satellite loop of the entire Atlantic Basin. We have three features we're watching on the left side of the screen here. You could barely make out where our Invest 95L is. This is in part associated with some of the storms left behind from Helene and also from a frontal system here in the Gulf. Not looking that much likely to develop, but still something to keep an eye on. Then obviously we have Tropical Depression 9, which is well on its way to becoming Tropical Storm Isaac, and down the road severe Hurricane Isaac, and potentially a severe tropical cyclone for areas of the Caribbean Sea and perhaps even the United States. Behind that we have another tropical Invest 96L, which is also looking on its way for a high likelihood to become a tropical depression. If that became a storm, and so did Tropical Depression 9, we'd be dealing with Isaac and Joyce, and it's looking like we will have Isaac and Joyce over the next couple of days throughout the Atlantic Basin. Again, we're going to be very, very busy watching the tropics. Here's the latest on TD9 as of 11 a.m. There will be a new advisory at 2. It's very close to tropical storm strength, 35 miles an hour, gusting to 45. It's moving at west 19 miles an hour. It's at 15.1 north, 52.8 west, 1008 millibars, and you can see the track forecast from the Hurricane Center here through time. By Wednesday evening, a tropical storm moving through the northern islands, becoming a hurricane south of Puerto Rico and Hispaniola, and then strengthening. Now here's the big question. Does it avoid land and become a stronger hurricane, even a major hurricane? Or does it get caught up over land and weaken? Right now there are a lot of unknowns. Regardless, it does look like Isaac will be a large and powerful hurricane roaring through the Caribbean Sea, and land impacts will be felt even if the actual center of the storm remains away from, say, Haiti and eastern Cuba. We're going to have a lot of time to watch it, but nevertheless get your hurricane plan into place in case that's where it ends up going. You can see the computer models are pretty narrow at first, taking this system right through the northern islands, and then they begin to diverge a bit. Some want to take it over Haiti and back out towards South Florida. Others want to take it here further south over Cuba towards the Florida Peninsula. And there are a lot of unknowns right now. Regardless, Isaac, when it does become Isaac, I should say, will be a large tropical cyclone, so heavy rain will definitely be a threat. Here's the latest visible RGB image, and you can see there at the end the center of the depression, not as well organized as earlier. It is in the diurnal minimum, so it's not exactly firing as much deep convection as at the beginning of this loop. It looked much better defined. As a matter of fact, if the center had been down here, it would be strengthening at a much quicker rate. Right now, though, you can see that motion continues to be fast, and there is some exposure there. So it's not in any rush to become a hurricane by any means, but we're going to have to keep an eye on it because it is still a situation that bears significant watching, since again this is forecast to become a powerful hurricane in a couple of days. Now here's 95L I did want to touch on. You can see it's very, very close to the coast of Mexico, and right now the biggest threat seems to be heavy rainfall. Whether or not some of those rains make it across the river into Texas, can't tell just yet. Regardless, the more it sits and brews out here, the more chance that something might get going, but right now that seems like a slim possibility at this point in time. Now here's the latest on 96L, which is the wave behind our depression, and these are the ensemble models which do take this system generally west-northwest and then kind of split. Some of them want to turn it to the north more towards Bermuda and out to sea. Others want to bend it back west or even southwest towards the Bahamas, which would be a very bad scenario. Right now the best chance would be somewhere within this cone area over the next 5 or 6 days, so there is concern for the northern islands and even the Bahamas down the road that we could have another tropical storm or even a hurricane. And again, if TD9 does become Isaac, this one would be Joyce, and right now the general thinking is west-northwest, gradually towards the northern islands, maybe north of there. Whether or not it would continue towards the southeast US or bend back west towards Florida or up towards Bermuda, that is just too far out right now to speculate. You can see the satellite image there, not very well defined, but getting there. Clearly curvature, low pressure with it. You can see the Cape Verde Islands, so this is still a way far ways away from land, and we have plenty of time to watch it. However, the wind shear is going to be a factor we're going to have to keep in mind, because here's our favorable wind shear over TD9. However, as it carries that west, it will be increasing warm water, and that will be a factor for significant strengthening with our depression. Behind that, our Invest 96L does have some favorable wind shear, but not quite as favorable as the area of TD9. So we're going to watch both of these systems right now, and again, as I mentioned, here's the name list for this year. We have gotten all the way down now through Helene, so TD9 should become Isaac, and if 96L develops, it would be Joyce, and we'd be waiting on Kirk already. So we are definitely moving fast through this hurricane season name list, waiting and seeing what will come of it. The GFS model does take our system TD9 and brings it across much of Haiti and eastern Cuba and up towards the Florida Peninsula. We do have that convention going on in Tampa, so obviously the first day or so may be inhibited if we do get a landfall, but whether or not that happens, we can't be sure. And you can obviously see it takes our Invest 96L behind it and bends it back here, generally moving in a west-northwest direction at the end. The Canadian model also brings our system much further east, raking Hispaniola and the Bahamas, and then brings our Invest 96L up behind that. So we have a lot of time to watch this, but clearly we're going to be dealing with these two systems, at least the first one, throughout the Caribbean Sea, and as of right now it's looking like we will have a strong hurricane in the Caribbean in just a couple of days. I'm Mike Naso. I'll see you next time.